Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Hot Topics. We're so glad that you're here. And, it's appropriate that we're doing Hot Topics because the Hot Topics lady is the subject of our breaking news this morning here on the Don Lemon Show on Hot Topics. And full transparency, we are a little bit later than normal because we had some technical issues. We will explain. Don't blame us, blame TMZ. Kidding. Well, we love TMZ and they're helping us out this morning. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. I come to you this morning. We're streaming two big breaking news stories. First, the Dow Jones is continuing to crater. At this time, it's nearly 300 points down. That follows closing nearly 1,000 points down yesterday. But I want to start with our top story, our big hot topic story this morning. And that is my dear friend, Wendy Williams. Williams' attorney is filing an emergency petition today to remove her from her senior living facility in New York City after she passed a mental evaluation on Monday. She did it with flying colors. It's according to the reporting. And we have the reporter here who's going to talk to us about that. And also TMZ is going to join us in just moments. Sources close to Wendy exclusively told the U.S. Sun, the former queen of daytime TV, was held overnight at a local hospital after being admitted yesterday following a welfare check by the NYPD. Quote, her guardianship attorney is filing an emergency petition today to have her moved to a less restrictive alternative housing, the insider said. So we have lots to talk about. Also, you are going to hear from Wendy Williams. I spoke to Wendy Williams, had a long conversation with her. I'm just going to play a portion of it as not to give away too much of our conversation until I speak with Wendy, but I think enough for you to hear that Wendy sounds fine. She's doing okay, and there's lots to discuss with this story and others this morning. So I want to bring in Jessica Flynn, who is a senior investigations and exclusives reporter for the U.S. Sun. Also, Michael Babcock is here, an executive producer at TMZ Sports and TMZ. Thank you both for joining us this morning. How you doing?
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Morning, guys. Thanks, Don.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Okay, so listen, before we get to the breaking news, our thumbnail says Wendy Williams speaks, and I want to make sure that we get that in, and then we can discuss. So here's my conversation with Wendy, who called me the day after my birthday last weekend. Here it is.
I always wanted to stop working, in my 50s and continue on with the rest of my life just simply, with this one lover or, dating until I find that one man, for me for the rest of my life, you know what I'm saying? And having enough money, that I don't have to, do anything if I don't want to,
Well, you always said you wanted to be like a socialite philanthropist.
Exactly. And so, this fucking bump in the road that's happening with me, this is over 3 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So she calls it, it's a setback, a bump in the road for her. And then she did go on to talk to me about her living conditions and about what she says about her, the guardian, and that I believe that this guardian is, let's put it this way. I'm not sure if this guardian is being above board about everything that's happening with Wendy. And there's concern, obviously, because they are investigating or at least accuse this guardian of elder abuse. I want to start with the new reporting this morning from Jessica Flynn. Jessica, what is your new reporting this morning? This is Wendy Williams' lawyer files emergency petition to remove her from unsafe living facility after she passes evaluation. Talk to me about that new report.
So as we kind of touched on last night, Wendy was brought into a local New York City hospital where she was evaluated yesterday, and she passed the evaluation with flying colors. So now her attorney basically has been trying to make sure that she doesn't get released from the hospital. The hospital wanted to discharge her last night, according to my sources at the U.S. Sun. And her attorney didn't want her discharged last night because if she was discharged last night, she was going to go back to the senior living facility, which she has called numerous times a luxury prison, essentially. So her lawyer really fought to just keep her in the hospital overnight. She's still there this morning, and her attorney is filing an emergency petition to get her placed in a different facility, somewhere where she's not essentially locked up in a memory ward, which is where Wendy has been staying for the last 6 or 7 months now.
So can we go through, I want to show this. This is from yesterday. And this is Wendy leaving this facility. If we can play the video, it's about a minute long. She's leaving this facility in New York City and being taken by ambulance and walking on her own accord, taken by ambulance to the hospital. Here it is.
Okay, bye-bye. Wendy, how are you?
Wendy, what's going on?
Today, I know you said that you needed help. Is it coming funny? Wendy, are you looking forward to the view? So will you still be making your appearances for this week?
Side or something.
Oh my God, I gotta get up in that. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Wait, you took that and put that way over there. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, sorry.
Yo, you going in?
I was right here. They have to take
Okay, and then off to the hospital. Michael Babcock, I want to bring you in because TMZ's reporting is that she's in the hospital and that she had some cognitive tests. What is your reporting this morning?
Don, she aced it. Yeah, I mean, it's a 10-question test. It's not an incredibly difficult test, but it would be difficult for somebody who has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of dementia. And Wendy, she aced it. 10 questions up, 10 questions down. We're talking about when's your birthday? Who's the president of the United States? So it's simple questions, but not something that someone who had seemingly been diagnosed with the conditions that she's been diagnosed with would be able to answer. And now Wendy is obviously pointing to these results and saying, look, the diagnosis I have been given here is just incorrect. And I don't deserve to be living in a place that I'm living in.
Interesting. Okay, so let's scroll through this because she doesn't deserve. And also, when we have seen Wendy, when you guys did the documentary as well, you did it from the window, right?
Yeah.
On the street. But when we have seen her leaving this facility, it has often been in a wheelchair. And her guardian has said, and both of you have reporting on this, but Michael, her guardian has said, well, Wendy needs a wheelchair to get around and then that she is sort of incapacitated to some extent. But it didn't seem that way yesterday. I know she could have good days and bad days, but it certainly didn't seem that way yesterday, Michael.
It did not. And you're right. The guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, has said, look, she can't get around. She needs help with the scooter. We saw her using the scooter when she was down in Miami for her father's birthday for a few days. But yesterday, as she walked out of that facility, sure, she had 2 police officers on her left and right, but she was walking on her own accord. She gets into the ambulance and they're off to the hospital. And she didn't seem like somebody who needed an overwhelming amount of assistance.
What are your sources telling you from the hospital?
I mean, look, the people that she's interacting with, I mean, I think to a person say, hey, this doesn't sound like someone who has dementia. Sure, she may have had her issues. She may have had issues with alcohol. Admittedly, Wendy would say that to you. But right now, she appears lucid and there. And not somebody who needs to be in an assisted living facility and certainly not somebody who needs to be locked in a memory care unit with no access to the outside world or very limited access to the outside world.
Yeah. I know, Jessica, that you have sources that are really close that are hearing about this cognitive test and other things, at the hospital or, what are your sources telling you?
So one of the things that we published this morning in my story at the US Sun is that during the cognitive test, Sabrina Morrissey, Wendy's guardian, was trying to interfere with the test. And we don't know exactly the extent of how she was trying to interfere, but it sounded like, the way it was relayed to me, that potentially she was trying to knock Wendy off her game, to try and have Wendy slip up and fail. Another thing that came out this morning, Wendy did an interview with the Breakfast Club this morning, and she told them that the guardian had given her attorney, her guardianship attorney, the name of the wrong hospital. So her guardianship attorney is trying to reach Wendy, trying to be there at the hospital alongside Wendy and make sure that she's advocating for Wendy. And the guardian, allegedly, according to Wendy, gave her own attorney the wrong hospital name, trying to like throw her off and try and make sure that, I guess, obfuscate her own attorney from getting to her at the hospital last night. And it sounded like it was like a real standoff between the guardian and Wendy's attorney. It sounds like these people wanted very different things from Wendy. The guardian wanted Wendy to go back to this restrictive care facility that she's been staying at. And her attorney really wants to find an alternative care plan that isn't so restrictive.
Yeah. When you guys interviewed her in that long interview for TMZ through the window, she talked specifically about this guardianship. What did she say about her conditions, Michael?
I think, like Jessica said, she's described it as a luxury prison. Sure, it might look nice inside, but the reality is, and the picture is so striking, the way she was pressed against that window, 5th floor, she can't get downstairs, she can't move, and she feels trapped. And again, no internet access. She's got a landline where she can't receive phone calls in. She can only make phone calls out. She's got no access to the computer, to email. I mean, she is shut off from the world by and large. And I think finally people noticed. I mean, this has been going on for 3 years and she's been living under these conditions. And now finally this story has gotten attention and things are starting to happen. The capacity test. I mean, that's a huge moment for Wendy to have something to point to and to say more than, hey, this person says I had a conversation with them and I'm lucid. Now we've got an actual test given by a psychiatrist that she aced. And I think this is going to go a monumentally long way to getting Wendy living the life that she wants to live. She's only 60. She talked this morning about the things she wants to do. She said she wants to get back to work. She's talked about love. I mean, she's got a lot of life left to live and she wants to get living it. She's ready to put this behind her.
Yeah. Jessica, look, I have a little bit more. By the way, I spoke to a source who believes that this will be helpful for someone to hear her just having a normal conversation with a friend, to hear how she sounds and she recalls things. So I want you to hear this, and I just want to get you and Michael's what your assessment, what you think about it. Here is more of my conversation with Wendy Williams. Here it is.
And and I don't know how much money I have left. Anyway, these attorneys, that we're supposed to be talking and getting the scoop on, the money. I want to know the money anyway, and the guardian person is using my money to hire attorneys for this, that, and the third. She's up to 4 attorneys now. So this is 4. I say 4 and counting, because there'll be more.
You don't know how much money you have in your account?
Not to the penny. I know a roundabout figure, you know what I'm saying? But I want to know more in depth. I want to know how much money was paid for this person doing this.
But you have enough money to live. Do you have enough money to live the rest of your life?
So far, but not for much longer. The way other people, not me, are spending money on this for this, or spending money on that for that. That's what a guardian person does. You know what I'm saying?
And that at $18,000 a month, shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's extremely expensive, and I want to go into a cheaper place in New York, a place also, as a guardian, you know what I'm saying? You have the right to go out and about, like I'm just giving an example of, you know what I'm saying? And unlike me, I am in this expensive mausoleum.
Yeah.
No, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I've had it Googled and searched, exactly what a guardian is supposed to do for you. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, when it started out, it was perfect for me. You know what I'm saying? Because it was about my money. You know what I'm saying? And you saw the documentary. You know what I'm saying? It was my money at Wells Fargo.
So that was Wendy. And so Jessica, she's describing the conditions, and basically she is saying she believes that she's being taken.
Yeah. So one of the pieces of information we got last night was that there is some real concern about the amount of money, the amount of Wendy's money that's being spent on attorney fees. We know that her guardian Sabrina is represented by her own attorney in the case against Lifetime. So there's a team of attorneys that are working on behalf of Wendy, but also on behalf of Sabrina in the Lifetime case. And Wendy has called that case specifically blood money. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want to be involved in the case at all. And that's kind of one of the main things that has spurred Wendy being evaluated in the first place, is that her guardian is like, well, if she is capable of directing this case and directing this matter, we would need to reassess her and have her reevaluated. So there's a team of attorneys that Wendy is paying for. She's also paying for an attorney in her divorce case with Kevin Hunter in New Jersey. And that case is being handled by a new attorney who was brought on recently. There's a ton of people that have their hands out that are getting paid by Wendy I can only imagine exorbitant legal fees for all of these cases that are ongoing. And yeah, it's really eye-opening to hear it coming from Wendy herself. And, additionally, we had in our reporting last night that part of the elder care, part of the Adult Protective Services case that was opened up had to do in part with that her guardian had sent her to Miami to visit her father last month in February, and that she was sent with a credit card that was declined. And, allegedly it is abusive to send somebody out into a different state without shelter or food, without any funds. And so that was the reasoning behind the Adult Protective Services case being open last week. It was part of the impetus behind it. And, it's really stunning to hear that here is this woman who's made millions, she's worked her ass off for years and years and years. And, for her not to have access to her money for her father's birthday. And meanwhile, this guardian is allegedly spending her fortune on legal fees and legal bills. And it's a really messed up situation. And Wendy is basically caged.
Michael, I mean, this opens up a lot of questions. Since Britney Spears and others about guardianships. But I mean, you listened to that interview with Wendy that I just did, and you heard her $18,000 a month, even in New York City, for rent. That's a lot of dough, right? And plus, I'm sure there are other expenses on top of that. And then,
absolutely,
attorneys at this point,
right? And I think it begs the question. What's the motivation here? If Wendy has said, I don't want this, I don't need this, why is Sabrina Morrissey, continuing to fight Wendy at every single turn? And I'm not trying to get myself sued here, but what could the motivations be? And perhaps could money be at the root of this? Wendy, like you said, has made a ton of money over the course of her career. And, are other people around Wendy getting paid to keep her in this situation? I don't know. I know it's clear she wants out. Like you said, Don, it's near $20,000 a month to stay in that facility. There's the attorney's fees, there's nurses, there's caregivers. I mean, there is a lot of money that is going out. And to hear Wendy say, I don't even know what I have or if I have enough money to live the rest of my life is heartbreaking. It's her money.
Well, to clarify, Michael, she goes, look, I don't know what I have exactly to the penny.
Right.
I mean, but each of us here can either go on a website, right, to our bank account, or call someone at the bank and say, how much money do I have at this point? I don't know if she's allowed to do that. Now, to clarify, she is saying, I have enough money, but not to the rate that this woman is spending.
Not
my
at this
money
pace. She can't keep this pace up. I mean, it's an incredibly expensive lifestyle that she's living right now, and she's not even happy.
Yeah. If you listen to someone, imagine being in the situation that Wendy is in. She is, let's show some of the pictures, because obviously she's under duress, right?
Yeah.
She is allegedly, according to the the paparazzi and the people from the Post and TMZ or whatever, that she put a note up to the window. She dropped a note out of the window saying help, that she is being held captive. We have some of the photographs of that, and that's in the New York Post reporting. She is dropping notes saying help me, and then they're sending ambulances to the place where she is. Help Wendy. Now, according to the paparazzi, she was in the window. He couldn't understand what she was saying. There she is right there. And he says, I don't understand. So she dropped a note out to him. It was a windy day, no pun intended. And then he went to get the note and came back. And then all of a sudden the ambulances are on the scene and they're taking her to the hospital.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
Right. And Don, there was not an actual struggle, but there was a battle inside the facility, whether or not Wendy would actually go to the hospital or if they would just send a nurse down, check her, essentially check her vitals, check her blood pressure and say, hey, Wendy, you're okay. No need to leave the facility. And she wanted to, and Gina, her caregiver, wanted her to go and be seen by a doctor at the hospital. And obviously they wanted this capacity test to be given as well. But there was a struggle to even allow her to go to the hospital yesterday.
Yeah. Jessica, what's next?
We'll see in the coming, I guess, days. I think I mentioned this last night. I can't imagine that the guardianship is going to be like terminated this week. That's going to be a long process. But certainly it appears that there is a good, solid fight going to change the face of the guardianship for the time being, to get Wendy into a less restrictive facility. That is what she wants. That's what she's been demanding for months now publicly. And it does seem like this emergency petition to get her into a different living facility will go a long way towards that, hopefully, if things go her way today in court.
Michael, what happens with the Free Wendy movement? What does this do to that? Because as you said, she's given I spoke to her the other day. By the way, Sunday, she called me again because I sent her candy right to the facility. And a couple minutes after we started talking, and she's telling me, TMZ, what's going on? You guys,
I don't know what's happening. We got live breaking news here, Don.
Breaking news: the TMZ building is on fire.
TMZ is on fire.
Los Angeles. Michael, do you need to go? Probably you need to go.
No,
right?
Hey, if you don't want to listen
talk
to that,
over
I
this?
understand. You let me
What
go.
does this do to the Free Wendy movement?
I think we're getting to the point where, like Britney Spears, the public pressure has become so much that it's impossible for the courts to ignore it at this point. And I think it continues to grow as Wendy continues to talk, as you have conversations with her, Don. I think the pressure mounts and mounts and mounts. And I think we're at a point where the courts have taken notice. NYPD has taken notice. And I think it had a real discernible impact on the Britney Spears case. And I think it will have in Wendy's case as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you both. By the way, to finish up what I was saying, I was speaking to her. We were talking about the candy. She says, I still have the Twizzlers. I like the Werthers. Thank you for everything that you're sending me. My phone beeps. I said, hang on. It is the guy delivering my breakfast sandwich. And then I get back to the phone. I click back over and I lose Wendy. So I only got to speak to her for about 10 minutes. And then I tried calling her back 6 times and I didn't get her. But
right. You can't call her.
I can't call her. That's the whole issue, which is bizarre that people cannot call her. It is like being locked up.
It is. You've got prisoners who have convicted of murders, who have more freedom than Wendy has at this point. Yeah.
Thank you both. Michael, I appreciate it. Jessica, thank you. We'll be talking, all of you, along the way. We appreciate you on the Breaking News with Wendy Williams. Thank you so much, both of you.
Bye,
okay.
Don. Bye, Jessica.
Bye. Okay, get out of there, Michael. We don't want you to, we don't want you to get in trouble. We want you to be safe. Okay, so that was Michael Babcock and Jessica Finn from Michael from TMZ and Jessica Finn from the U.S. Sun. So that's our breaking news this morning, and that's really what Hot Topics was intended to do, was to talk about issues that were a little bit lighter than everything that was going on in the news. And then we'll see. I'll play more of my conversation that I had with Wendy as we move along here. But we spoke for a long time about her conditions, what she wanted in life, how she feels about what's happening with her family, etc. So there we go. Wendy Williams speaks this morning on the Don Lemon Show. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know you guys are saying, let Wendy go. Let's read some of the comments before we go on to talk about what's happening in the rest of the world as it relates to the Trump administration, and also this interview that Elon Musk gave to, it was CNBC or Fox News? I forget exactly who it was.
Larry Kudlow at Fox
Larry
Business.
Kudlow at Fox Business News. Yeah, which is a very interesting interview. So let's put some of the comments up and let's read and answer some of them, if you will, producers. A lot of folks are in the comments saying free Wendy now, and they're praying for Wendy. I'm not sure what happens next because they're trying to figure out this evaluation. The Guardian needs to be investigated. I think, Patricia, I think they're going to do that. Liza says, I'm so happy for Wendy. And just remember, Liza and others, Wendy needs to get every penny that they stole from her back, says Rochelle. The reason I played that is because I believe that it helps Wendy. Now, I want to help Wendy. And at this point, I do believe that there's something odd going on and that there needs to be more transparency around this situation. If you listen to Wendy, she seems fine, as Male Mom says. They should let her go and live her life. Now, I believe that she should have a sober coach, perhaps, and someone around her that can help her, at least someone who is watching over her money. But I don't believe she needs to be locked up like a prisoner in, this sort of pseudo jail that she's in. I feel so bad for her. She can't even take calls. WTF, says Tammy. Yeah. And why can't she take calls? If she is being surrounded by that many people and they are in charge of her, where she goes and what she does and what she can't do, then why wouldn't they let people call her? Why couldn't she receive calls? It's just bizarre. It's really a bizarre situation. So, initially when you guys were asking me, how do I feel? I said, I want what's best for Wendy. And perhaps she was doing better because she's in this guardianship. Maybe she's doing better because of that. And if you take her out of the guardianship, perhaps she would start doing worse. I believe now that this guardianship is too restrictive. And I've said that from the beginning. I think it is too much. I think after you are a person of a certain age, especially a 60-year-old woman, that you should be allowed certain freedoms and certain rights, because there are people who are, quote unquote, of sound mind and body who will go through, pardon me for that, who will go through their money and their savings. And it's sad that it happens, but it's their right as a human being. You just can't start restricting people's rights just because. Now, I'm not saying I want her to blow her money. I want her to be able to have money to live comfortably for the rest of her life. And, but I think that there are ways to do that without having the woman in prison, where she has to act out and a cry for help from paparazzi who are on the street. And look, I want to play some of it because a lot of you are saying, hey, I missed the interview. I want to let's play the beginning. This is the interview from me, where we talked initially about, how she feels. Because I did an interview. I interviewed Wendy for Interview Magazine. And she told me that I want to be a philanthropist, a sort of socialite. I don't want to work forever. I don't want to do television forever. If I do something, I want it to be radio, because radio is her first love. And she just happened upon the talk show and it became successful. But she wanted to do radio, and she wanted to be, after she finished with the television show, she wanted to be a philanthropist, a socialite, and she wanted to be able to help other people and then also teach young people how to be and how to get into the business of either radio or television and to be successful at it. So the initial part, or one part of our conversation, that I'll replay it for you because folks are saying I didn't hear it. So this is Wendy just a week ago speaking to me about what she wants and what she wanted. And she said this was a sort of bump in the road, hiccup. Remember, this is after the divorce. She also talked about her love life, and she didn't want to get married again, but she wanted to have someone special in her life. Let's play it again, Andy. Here it is.
I always wanted to stop working, in my 50s and continue on with the rest of my life just simply, with this one lover, or, dating until I find that one man, for me for the rest of my life, you know what I'm saying? And having enough money, that I don't have to, do anything if I don't want to,
Well, you always said you wanted to be like a socialite philanthropist.
Exactly. And so, this fucking bump in the road that's happening with me, this is over 3 years. You know what I mean?
And then the second part of the interview is where she talks about over 3 years. And then she speaks very candidly about the conditions under which she's living. Now, I want to clarify. She's talking about her money and Wells Fargo, and there's more. I didn't play all of it. There's about 30 minutes of conversation that I had with her, and I spoke to her for about an hour. but she talks about the money. She doesn't know exactly to the penny. And I think most people don't know exactly to the penny how much money they have. So she's no different than most people, but at least they have the opportunity, or we have the opportunity to either go on a website, go to the bank's website, whatever, call up our financial person or whatever and say, how much money do I have? I don't know if Wendy has the right to do that, but she says, yeah, I have enough money to live, according to her, but not at the rate that this woman, this guardian, is spending my money. She's in a facility that is reportedly like $18,000 a month. And then among other fees, attorney's fees, and all kinds of things that Wendy is having to pay for. Again, according to Wendy, and according to the reporting from Wendy, and according to her representatives recently. So here's another part of the conversation. I'll rerun it so that you guys can hear it. Here it is.
And, and I don't know how much money I have left. Anyway, these attorneys, that, we're supposed to be talking and getting the scoop on, the money, I want to know the money anyway, and the guardian person is using my money to hire attorneys for this, that, and the third. She's up to 4 attorneys now. So it's just 4. I say 4 and counting, because there'll be more.
You don't know how much money you have in your account?
Not to the penny. I know a rounded about figure, you know what I'm saying? But I want to know more in depth. I want to know how much money was paid for this person doing this.
But you have enough money to live. Do you have enough money to live the rest of your life?
So far, but not for much longer. The way other people, not me, are spending money on this for this, or spending money on that for that. That's what a guardian person does. You know what I'm saying?
And that at $18,000 a month, shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's extremely expensive, and I want to go into a cheaper place in New York, a place also, as a guardian, you know what I'm saying, you have the right to go out and about, like I'm just giving an example of, you know what I'm saying, and unlike me, I am in this expensive mausoleum.
Yeah.
No, do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've had it Googled and searched, exactly what a guardian is supposed to do for you. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, when it started out, it was perfect for me. You know what I'm saying? Because it was about my money. You know what I'm saying? And you saw the documentary. You know what I'm saying? It was my money at Wells Fargo.
So there's more after that she talks about that I won't play now. Perhaps I will play it for you at a later time. So there you go. Unbelievable. Can you imagine $18,000 a month? I live in New York City, and even for New York City, that is a lot. That is a really, really good, if you were buying, pardon me, if you were buying a place in New York City, that's a good apartment to buy, to have a mortgage that is $18,000 a month in New York City. That's good. So to be in a facility that costs that much, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. So I don't know, what happens next with Wendy, but I hope and I pray that she has a reprieve from this situation that is happening with her, and that she is given a lot more autonomy and a lot more freedom, but with some care and some supervision. Now, I don't think that anybody can disagree with that. Okay. I don't think that anyone can disagree with that. Free Wendy, I don't know. How free, I'm not sure how free she should be, but I think free enough that she should be able to live her life with happiness and some sense of dignity and autonomy. I watched Wendy walk out of that place yesterday. I haven't seen Wendy walk like that in forever. I haven't seen her walk like that in forever. And to having to pay all of those attorney's fees and the divorce, and it's crazy. We'll get back to that as soon as we get more information, okay, on what's going on. I will keep you updated. Now let's get to the breaking news now. The breaking news is, do we have anything to show this? The stock market, the Dow, I have been telling you, look at that. Every single day, I tell you guys, these guys have nothing. They don't know what they're doing. Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Speaking of money and losing money and highway robbery, this is the highway robbery that is coming from the government. Look at that. Look at the Dow, down 500 points plus and falling right now. You want to know why? Because of all these tariffs, because of all the uncertainty, because of the Trump administration not knowing what the hell they are doing. Donald Trump is saying, we want these tariffs, we want all of this, we want all of that. And everyone has been saying, hey, Donald Trump, don't you know these tariffs? They're a tax on the consumer. And he's like, no, it's trouble, it's just short term or whatever. How long can we be in a short term when people don't have money? And it's like a domino effect. One thing triggers the other. So listen, I thank you for joining us this morning. We began with the breaking news here regarding Wendy Williams, and now we're going to move on to the economy and the dire trouble that we're in right now. So make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you subscribe. Welcome to all of our new members. Thank you so much, new members. Thank you so much for joining. And I just want to shout some people out because of Simi's generosity. Again, Simi, I love you. She's gifted 20 memberships. Because of her generosity, 20 people get to become members of the Don Lemon channel, the Don Lemon Show. So Kev Z 247, welcome to the Lemon Nation. Alice Price, welcome to the Lemon Nation. Lachey Davis, welcome to the Lemon Nation. And others, welcome all. Kimberly Bailey, all welcome to the Lemon Nation. Gigi, welcome. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's right beneath the Don Lemon Show logo on the bottom right of your screen. Okay, the subscriptions are free. Our memberships are very reasonable and affordable and not that expensive. How many ways can I put it? And it helps keep us streaming. So make sure you hit the thumbs up, the like, so more people can become aware of what's going on. So we had the breaking news on that. So I just want to show you what's going on. The Dow is down again, some 500 points and going down even further. Okay? Going down even further. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to play here because let's see. I want to know what explains, producers, exactly where we are. I don't know if is it the MSNBC side from Morning Joe?
I would personally, Don, go with the other breaking news that I think, because when we came on the air, the market was down around 250, 300 points. And then Donald Trump posted something to Truth Social, and the market immediately tanked to more than 500 points down.
What did he post?
We have that here.
And so what happened? The market tanked to 500 after he said that? Said this?
Correct.
Oh my gosh, guys, seriously? Let's talk about this. So based on Ontario, Canada, placing a 25% tariff on electricity coming into the United States, and we get the soundbite on Ontario from yesterday, just so we can show people what's going on. I have instructed my Secretary of Commerce to add an additional 25% tariff to 50% on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada, one of the highest tariffing nations anywhere in the world. Now, this is what I explained to you yesterday about all this chest thumping that Donald Trump is doing, because he won't stop, because he has to be proven right even when he is wrong. Canada is not going to back down. It's just not going to happen. Canada said that they're going to start cutting off electricity if they have to. But let's read further, and I'll show you what the Premier of Ontario said yesterday. He said this will go into effect tomorrow morning, March 12th. Also, Canada must immediately drop their anti-American farmer tariff of 250,000 to 390% to 390% on various U.S. dairy products, which has long been considered outrageous. I will shortly be declaring a national emergency on electricity within the threatened area. This will allow the U.S. to quickly do what has to be done to alleviate this abusive threat from Canada. If other egregious long-time tariffs are not likewise dropped by Canada, I will substantially increase on April 2nd the tariffs on cars coming into the U.S., which will essentially permanently shut down the automobile manufacturing business in Canada. Oh my gosh, guys. This is a standoff with someone who is playing strongman, cosplaying as a strongman and a dictator and an autocrat. Those cars can easily be made in the U.S. What he doesn't understand is that all of the parts are not made in the U.S. We had someone explain, and I don't know if we can find that this crosses the border several times. One part is made here, one part is made there, one part is made here. And if they want to build all of it in the United States, they're going to have to keep shipping the same thing to and from over the border again, which will each time receive another tariff, be subject to another tariff, which will make it even more expensive. That he doesn't understand. Why doesn't he understand this? Why doesn't he understand this? Canada pays very little for national security, relying on the United States for military protection. We are subsidizing Canada to the tune of more than $200 billion a year. Why? This cannot continue. The only thing that makes sense is for Canada to become our cherished 51st state. Please get me the new prime minister as well. This would make all the tariffs and everything else totally disappear. Canadians' taxes will be very substantially reduced. They will be more secure, militarily and otherwise, than ever before. There would no longer be a northern border problem. And there is no northern border problem, by the way. It's all made up. There will no longer be a northern border problem, and the greatest and most powerful nation in the world will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And Canada will be a big part of that. The artificial line of separation drawn many years ago will finally disappear, and we will have the safest and most beautiful nation anywhere in the world. And your brilliant anthem, "O Canada," will continue to play, but now representing a great and powerful state within the greatest nation the world has ever seen. Guys, are you fucking kidding me? Are you guys okay with this? Are you kidding me? If you're okay with it, I don't know. If you're not, hit the thumbs up. That'll help people. We want this conversation. Total lunacy, says 3 minutes a day. You're right. He's out of his mind. He's out of his mind. Now, I want to show you, this is what the new Prime Minister of Canada said just yesterday regarding Trump wanting to the 51st state and all of these tariffs. Let's play it.
My government will put into action our plan to build a stronger economy.
Can't see it, Andy. I can't.
New trading relationships with reliable trading partners. And to secure our borders. There's someone who's trying to do the opposite. There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy. Yeah, Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed. And we won't. America is not Canada. And Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form. We didn't ask for this fight. We didn't ask for this fight. But Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. So the Americans, they should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win.
Canada will win. He said no way that they will become the 51st state in the United States. Why on earth would Donald Trump want Canada to become the 51st state? What on earth would make him think that he should be able to do that? Just take someone. This to me, this sounds no different than what? Come on, you guys know where I'm going. This sounds no different than Vladimir Putin. What Vladimir Putin did to Ukraine. Hey, look, Ukraine should be a part of Russia, and we're going in and we're going to take it. Thank you, Candace Camden. He wants to be like Putin and just annex and just take Canada. Really? This is what you voted for. Now, even if you are the biggest MAGA, not maggot, but even if you are the biggest MAGA person and supporter, you don't have an issue with this? With Canada, who is one of our biggest trading partners and one of our biggest allies. This is the way you treat an ally? is by wanting to annex their country, is by putting tariffs on their products and their goods coming in and leaving the country? Is this how you treat an ally? Imagine if you treat your allies like this, then why on earth would they be an ally? And then you treat your enemies as if the enemies are allies. We're in a backwards, upside down world, and people are wondering why the stock market is tanking, why the economy is tanking. It's tanking because he's acting like a dictator. And I believe most of us at heart, even if you are the biggest MAGA supporter, they know that we are not a dictatorship, that we are democracy. We are a republic that's supposed to behave as such. We don't have kings. We don't have autocrats. We're not a monarchy here. And I think most people realize that. It is disgusting, outrageous behavior from a small little man who has, I guess, security issues, who is very insecure. Every single day, it is uncertainty. Trump is trying to annex Crimea, Canada, right? That's what he's trying to do. It is unbelievable. Now you think Canada is not playing around. This is what the premier of Ontario said. Now remember, there are millions, there's about, I guess, 1.5 or 1.6 million people. Okay, 1.5 or 1.6 million people in the United States that relies upon what? Getting their electricity and their energy from Canada. Now they're going to get a 25%, I believe, if you want to call it a tariff or tax on top of that, which is about $100 a month per person because of Donald Trump's idiocy and stupidity. This is what the premier, and also he said he's willing to shut it off if he has to. This is what the premier of Ontario said just yesterday regarding those folks in the United States, 3 border states, right? Minnesota, Michigan, and New York. I believe it's Michigan. That borders and that they provide electricity for. This is what he's going to do. Brace yourselves, America. You're right, Moni. Here it is.
Moving forward with a 25% surcharge on electricity exports for the 1.5 million American homes and businesses that Ontario powers, homes and businesses in Minnesota, Michigan, and New York. This surcharge will cost families and businesses in these states up to $400,000 each and every single day. On an average, this will add around $100 per month to the bills of hardworking Americans. Let me be clear. I will not hesitate to increase this charge. If necessary, if the United States escalates, I will not hesitate to shut the electricity off completely. Believe me when I say I do not want to do this. I feel terrible for the American people because it's not the American people who started this trade war. It's one person who's responsible. That's President Trump. I'd rather be working together. I want to sell the U.S. more energy, more electricity, more critical minerals. I want to make Canada and the United States the richest, most successful, safest, most secure 2 countries on the planet. But as Premier, my #1 job is to protect the people of Ontario and in hand protect the people of Canada. I will do whatever it takes. I will fight like I've never fought before to protect Ontario. Friends, none of this makes sense. Costly tariffs against your closest friends and allies do not make sense. The U.S. markets have lost trillions in value. Companies are second-guessing investments into the American economy. American workers' jobs are at risk as we speak right now. Cost of hardworking American families will only go up. It doesn't have to be this way. We are stronger when we work together.
That is what he promised yesterday when he made that initial saying that he was going to levy a surcharge 25% on Americans, and he didn't want to. It was all because of Donald Trump. The premier in an interview is speaking out today, just moments ago. Watch.
Electricity. Stay tuned.
So what does that look like? What are the potential responses?
Well, we'll see. I'll talk to the team and we'll make an appropriate response. to President Trump. Again, I stress, this is not the American people. Canadians know it. And if we go into a recession, it's self-made by one person. It's called President Trump's recession, which shouldn't be this way. We should be booming both countries right now.
President Trump's recession. Now, I've said to you, I believe that we are already in a recession. And look, what is his name? Charles Payne over at the Fox Business News believes the same thing, except Charles Payne blames it on, and the folks at Fox, they blame it on Joe Biden. But this is Donald Trump's economy. This was not happening under Joe Biden. So for them to come in all of a sudden and say, well, all the good parts, that's for us, and all the bad parts, well, that's for Joe Biden. It's bullshit, and they know it. It is bullshit, and I believe the American people know it. And this is why Donald Trump is putting out these erratic posts. I don't know who encouraged him to put this out. I don't know if he tested this or if he ran this by his folks. But it certainly didn't help because it's causing the market to tank. It's causing the market to tank. And you know what Donald Trump thinks about the market. He views the market as an indicator of the health of the American economy. And his indicator of the health of the American economy is the American economy is on life support right now. And someone needs to give it a defibrillator because it is at the end, and maybe, some mouth to mouth. Something, because if it continues, then the American economy will die. And that is not good for me, nor is it good for you. It is good for no one. Now, let me tell you who it's good for. It's good for Donald Trump and his billionaire friends because what? It's good for Donald Trump and his billionaire friends because they can buy low and sell high. They can buy up a bunch of stocks, which will make them richer once the economy, if it does bounce back. They can buy up a bunch of farms. The farmers, the people who voted for Donald Trump, en masse, right? Most of them, they're being affected the most right now. And they're all, I would imagine they're like, what the hell is going on? But maybe they aren't, who knows? So right now, you are right. Someone in the chat says, Moni says, buy, buy, buy. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to buy, and they're going to become wealthier. They're going to become richer. They're going to become billionaires. Soon, trillionaires, some of them. And what are you doing? Have you looked at your 401k? If you are lucky enough to have one, have you looked at your investments? Have you looked at whatever savings that you have that you're going into? Because you have to pay for eggs in some places that are $17 a dozen. That the prices for everything is going up, including gas, all kinds of things because of these tariffs. And it's going to get even more expensive. But hey, the billionaires are saying it's going to have to wait just a little bit of hurt, a little bit of pain, just a little bit of hurt, a little bit of pain for them. There's no hurt and no pain, by the way. These people are so out of touch with how most Americans are living that they wouldn't even know how to get in touch. They pretend that they know. Put up the Dow right now. Let me show you. This is a live picture. Look at this. And let's not forget that the Dow has been going down every single day for days now. I keep saying we've lost 6 months of all of the gains that were made in the market, maybe even more now considering what's happening today. And remember, Donald Trump once put up a tweet saying, if you lose $1,000 2 days in a row in the stock market, the president, whomever, should resign. Now, is Donald Trump going to resign? Should he be impeached for this? But what is that going to do? Because he's been impeached before, twice before. And the MAGA folks, no matter how terrible he is, no matter what terrible practices he puts into place, that he implements, they stand behind him, even when it is the worst for them. Because guess who is losing the most? The people who are in rural areas, who don't have a lot of savings, if any. I think yesterday they said most people have about $400 in savings. That was according to one of our lemon legends yesterday. So if you have $400 for the most part in savings or retirement or whatever it is, then how are you going to take a little bit of pain? Because a little bit of pain is not going to last for hours. It's not going to last for days. It's not going to last for weeks. And it's not going to last for months. It could be years. And here we are with someone who doesn't care how the American people feel. He has fooled you. He has tricked you. And so now all of a sudden, the MAGAs are quiet. The MAGAs aren't trolling as much as they are. And the ones who are trolling just to troll, but they know, and they're worried, as they should be worried, because they have fucked around and they have found out, and they're finding out now. The recession is good for the 1%. You know, I love speaking to people who are out there, especially you, my reporters who are out there. By the way, hit the thumbs up, reporters, meaning you, all of the folks who are watching, hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe to our channel. It's very important to us. But the 1% loves a recession. And this is someone who on social media will explain it to you. I like having these guys out there who can explain, not the folks sitting around, the talking heads from Washington, D.C. Here it is. Watch.
The reason they want a recession is because when a recession happens, the economy plummets, a bunch of companies go bankrupt, and only the oligarchs have the money left over to buy up everything when it's being sold for a fraction of its actual worth. If the whole economy goes under, only a small group of people are wealthy enough not only to be okay, but to start buying and accumulating. They take advantage of people's desperation by buying up all these properties that are being liquidated so that when the economy rebounds, before maybe they own, let's just say 1% of the economy, but then when everything gets cheap, they have less money in an absolute sense, but everything else is dirt cheap. So they buy, and then when the economy goes back up, now they own 2% of the economy. Yeah, recessions are good for people who, have the hunger and who are, willing to buy, and they have the capital. Will this recession affect other countries or just the EU and America? It'll affect the entire world.
There you go. And so the people, the billionaires, again, the Donald Trumps and the Putins of the world will own more of the world. Don't you guys understand and see what is happening here? Do you see what is happening here? Do you see what the folks who who may have voted third party or who may have said, oh, I'm going to support this guy, the blacks and the Latinos and all of that, and the folks who now you see? Recessions make 99% of people start over after they have sold everything to eat, says Chris Olson. There you go. So when you have sold everything, when you have dipped into your savings so that you can eat, so that you can buy gas, and God forbid, if you have a medical emergency because you may not have health insurance, and if you do, you still have to pay the premiums on your health insurance. You got to pay the copays and all of that. But guess who does? It doesn't matter. Guess who has the best health care in the world? Many of the people who don't even have to pay for the health care, except you. I'm trying to explain. Do you guys hear me? I'm trying to explain to you what is happening in this world. There are many who believe because the rich will get richer, that they are tanking the economy on purpose. There is a streamer who will explain some of it. His name is Vosh, explaining why Trump is tanking the economy.
Oh, Don, that's what we just played.
I thought that was someone else. Okay. So they believe that he's tanking the economy, and others believe the same thing. I thought that was someone else. I thought this was Christopher who was doing this. But Vosh believes that, and I believe it is true. There's also an interview. Well, I want to play this. Senator Kennedy, who is in Louisiana, in my home state, one of the poorest states in the country. Now, after all of the indicators and folks who are saying, hey, look, we are in a recession, if not headed towards one. Senator Kennedy is doing a Donald Trump sycophant thing again, kissing Donald Trump's ass, and also trying to pretend that we don't see with our own eyes or hear with our own ears exactly what is happening. Here's Senator Kennedy saying there's no sign of a recession.
There are fears of a recession, stoked at least in part by President Trump's refusal to rule out a recession. Where are you on this? Is your message still, this is early, trust the process? What do you think?
I don't see any indication of a recession. We created 151,000 jobs last month. The unemployment rate is steady. The yield curve is fine. Businesses are still showing profits. I think the reaction of the stock market was with respect to two things. Number one, the market has clearly been been overvalued. The S&P was trading at about 21 times earnings. 10-year average is from 16 to 19. But I think the real reason that the market had such an ugly day, and it was ugly, was concern about President Trump's tariffs. And I'll be glad to talk about that, but I wouldn't trade the American economy for any other economy in the world right now. Not Germany, not France, certainly not China, not Canada, not the UK, not any other developed country. And I think if you talk to Jay Powell, he'd say the same thing because he testified to that effect before us in our banking committee.
Okay, he testified before in the banking committee when he was talking about the economy that Joe Biden left, not the economy of the last couple of weeks or the last couple of days that Donald Trump is tanking. Now, I wonder if he would have said that when Joe Biden was president, when the economy and all the indicators were more positive and better than now, if he would have said the same thing that he is saying now. He is bullshitting. He's lying. He is a hypocrite. And he knows it, that he is a hypocrite. And this interview is from this, I believe it says 5:25 Eastern yesterday. I wonder what Senator Kennedy has to say today. I wonder what Senator Kennedy has to say today. What does he have to say today? That's what I would like to know. Oh my gosh. Laura Trump, who is the daughter-in-law of the president, has this to say about what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing. Here it is, watch.
We cannot survive as a country. So people ought to be kissing the feet of Elon Musk and Donald Trump for being the two people to actually do this.
You're muted, Don.
They should be kissing the feet of Donald Trump and Elon Musk for doing this. For someone who's saying, for people, Doge and the administration saying that they're going after Social Security. Here's an interview with Elon Musk.
The wage report in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. That's like the big one to eliminate, because that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $700 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave and they'll lose voters.
He is saying that the Democrats are paying, that Social Security is somehow tied. Look, it's a very similar thing as what he said in his interview with me a year ago, that somehow Democrats are incentivizing, and this is, I think he's saying through social programs, incentivizing people from other countries to come here to increase the voter pool and incentivizing people illegally to come here, which has been explained to him and others that people who are here illegally cannot vote. Among other things, in an interview, he also said that there was a slow white genocide happening in South Africa. And then recently, the president has signed an executive order to fast track South African farmers to come into the United States, and perhaps wants to give them farming land to help them out. Do you guys understand where we are right now? I don't think that folks do. I think Steve Ratner does. I want you to listen to part of the conversation that Steve Ratner and others over on Morning Joe on the MSNBC that they had regarding these interviews and our crashing economy. Here it is.
Dive right in.
We're going to get to the markets, and we're going to get to the market crashes, and we're going to get to all the concerns about the coming recession. But first, some breaking news on an interview yesterday that Elon Musk had with Larry Kudlow.
Elon Musk referred to the federal spending on programs such as Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid as the areas that need to be eliminated. In an interview yesterday, Musk also claimed Democrats use such programs to attract illegal immigrants and to turn them into voters. Take a look.
I mean, the way it's important in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. That's like the big one to eliminate. Is that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $700 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave and they will lose voters.
There are times when Democrats have put words in Republicans' mouths about Social Security, Medicare. Here, he said the quiet part out loud and actually said Social Security and Medicare is where all.
Okay, this should not be. I mean, honestly, Peter, Nikki, Andy, this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Because remember how we started this show a year ago with an interview with Elon Musk. Did he not say very similar, if not the exact same thing that he's saying now regarding this? And I think even some more surprising things. Did he not?
You are right.
Yes, he did.
And that they were incentivizing and that they needed to stop. I forget exactly what he said, but this is nothing new. And I said, and when I tried to tell you guys that I've been around and I know some things, and you guys know what happened in that interview and the outcome of that interview, but yet here we are, we're still going. But this shouldn't be a surprise to Joe or Mika or anybody, or even the folks over at the Fox Business News, and they weren't shocked that he said that. They were agreeing with him. This should not be a surprise to anyone. I'm sure it's surprising that people believe that he believes that, but that he's actually saying it because he has said this, if not similar things before, including a slow white genocide in South Africa. Keep playing.
All the money is, and those are the ones that need to be eliminated. Now, we've of course seen him say other things that have been deeply damaging politically, but that is extraordinarily damaging politically. And Steve Ratner, I want to do a fact check also. He wasn't talking about the people up to 160 years of age that Donald Trump incorrectly said were getting Social Security payments. He's just saying that's where all the money is. And by the way, you and I, we always say that. We don't say eliminate them. We also don't say that you got Democrats using Social Security and Medicare to attract illegal immigrants to America to vote for them. I must say, that is a new and quaint approach to the two most important programs for Americans, retired Americans. But that's what he said. But let's do a fact check on the other part, just so when that comes up about Donald Trump went on and on and on in the speech about people getting Social Security checks up to 160. That's not the case. The fact is that they have stayed on the rolls because it's an automated roll where they didn't get pulled off. I'm going to give you some numbers. You're a number guy. In 2023, Social Security report found that only 44,000 Americans of the 18.9 million individuals listed over 100 years old in the database were receiving payments. In 2020's Census Bureau, there were 80,139 people in America who were over 100. So that tells you that there are almost twice as many Americans alive over 100 as there are Americans who are receiving Social Security payment checks. So the idea that there's this massive fraud is ridiculous. 80,000 Americans alive over 100 years of age, and half of them not getting Social Security benefits. So again, it undermines it. This is a lie that Musk continued to tell yesterday, but also just overall talking about how those are the programs that need to be eliminated. Again, pretty shocking to most Americans, I would think.
Yeah, Joe, look, other presidents have talked about even trimming Social Security, privatizing Social Security. All of those ideas have gone down in flames because the American people.
This is, just remember that they want to get rid of these programs, the social safety nets. They don't need them. And they also believe that this is what they believe, and I think this is misguidedly, that they believe that these social programs help mostly Black and brown minority people, when they don't realize that it is the other way around. You're right, Winky Campbell, the math is not mathing. It's the other way. Look at all of the farmers who are taking advantage of social programs. Are they encouraging them not to? You heard the farmer who came on, a white farmer, saying, look, all of these farmers, most of them white, are taking advantage every single year of social safety net programs or safety net programs for farmers. Keep going.
People like their Social Security. They like their Medicare. I was with somebody the other day a senator who conducts town halls, and he said, and the one thing, one of his constituents said, and the one thing that you have to be sure of, I don't want the government messing around with my Medicare. They don't even realize Medicare in some cases is a government program. They just like it because it takes care of their health care needs. And so this has become part of the fabric of our social net. It's something people depend on. It's something people pay into. And the notion of eliminating it is, I think, going to blow up in the faces of Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
Now, President Trump himself.
I'm wondering, but before we go to you, Jonathan Lemire, hey, TJ, could you cue up that clip again? I just want to make sure that we didn't misunderstand what Elon had to say. He's talking to Larry Kudlow, and it's fascinating that Nick and I were watching another network last night where they were interviewing Larry Kudlow. It's fascinating that this part of the interview never came up. Nope. Let's play it again because it's kind of.
I mean, the wage report in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements.
I think I think it's important to hear. Just back it up to where he is. I think this is important here. I want you guys to really understand what he is saying here. I want you guys to understand and just how dangerous this is. Okay, listen.
Let's play it again because it's kind of.
I mean, the wage report in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. So that's like the big one to eliminate. Is that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $700 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave, and they'll lose voters.
So, Ed Luce, President Trump repeatedly has said he wouldn't touch Social Security. Other times he's waffled, suggested maybe there'd be some
can you guys
on the margins there, but this.
All right, you guys tell me what he's saying there. That's what I just want to know. You tell me what you think is saying there, and you tell me if you believe what he's saying is real. Now, when he said a similar thing in an interview with me, he said, look, go into the community notes on X, and that will tell you how people feel and what is true or not. So I want to hear what you guys say in our community notes, which is our chat, about how you feel about what he's saying. That's what I would like to know. How do you feel about this? Let's listen to Ed Luce a little bit, and then I'll bring it back up.
This is pretty clear what Elon Musk had to say yesterday. $700 billion, a lot of money, maybe even more. And Social Security is known as the third rail of American politics for a reason. No one touches it, certainly without devastating political consequences. So this is now, Musk has now supplied Democrats with yet another ready-made campaign commercial. Wielding that chainsaw on stage at CPAC, indiscriminately cutting federal government programs that hurt red state, blue state voters alike. And now this, saying he wants to not reform, even just eliminate Social Security, which would have impacts on just about every American.
It would, and it's not the first time, remember, Jonathan. He's also described it as a Ponzi scheme, which betrays a complete ignorance of how Ponzi schemes work. This is a pay-as-you-go system. People pay into it all their lives, and then they draw out of it after they retire or get disability or whatever. The one group that doesn't draw out of it are illegal immigrants. They come in, they work, they pay into it, but they don't draw out of it because they're illegal immigrants, let alone come here because of the magnet, as Musk calls it, of Social Security. So this is the most extraordinary misreading, both of how Social Security works and also of the role of illegal immigrants in the U.S. economy. And I have to say, I keep correcting, maybe I'm being pedantic, but entitlements is the wrong word. If you pay into something, you are investing in your future, your money, so that in the expectation you'll get it back after you retire. Any attempt, as I think Trump knows, to mess with that is political dynamite. Elon Musk's political standing in this town is falling almost as fast as Tesla's share price. He is an albatross around Trump's neck.
Not that fast.
Let's not overstate.
I mean,
let's not overstate.
You seen Tesla?
There, I mean, they've lost like 750 billion in market cap over I don't know, the past.
All right, so look, let's pause it there,
but
because that brings up a very good point about what is going on. And Ed Luce talks about the political capital that Elon Musk has, and then we know what the polling is saying. We know exactly what the polling is saying, and the polling is not good. And I believe that Donald Trump has figured out that this whole Doge thing is tanking his approval numbers. And so he's going to have to do something about it. Look, it's not just Tesla that has lost huge market share. It's also other companies from Elon Musk, including Starlink. Scott Galloway has his take on what he believes will happen with Elon Musk if things continue the way they are in business for him. Watch this. Here's Scott Galloway.
The problem for Elon Musk would be if people start canceling Starlink contracts.
We're ripping up Ontario's contract with Starlink. It's done. It's gone. We won't award contracts to people who enable and encourage economic attacks on our province and our country.
Musk, when he saw this, I think this probably sent a chill down his spine. I think this is what is going to probably push Musk out of government. Starlink was his growth vehicle, and there's 1.5 million customers of Starlink in the U.S., 530,000 in Canada, its second largest market. That's real. And then the number 3 market, Mexico, at 435,000. And then I do like that the world does not seem to like dominance. And as a result, when anyone gets too powerful, we have a healthy gag reflex and we kind of check their power. Starlink's value in the private markets, I think it's trading at 3 or 350 billion. That number is going to come way down. If I'm Telesat or Explore or the competitors, they have no trouble raising a shit ton of money right now.
Yeah, producers, I sent a thing this morning, I think I did, about cars that are sitting on the lot and people are saying that they were turning in their Teslas. Did we get that? I don't know if you guys got that this morning. But it's an interesting prospect for someone whose net worth or money is based on a lot on government contracts and whether people consume the products. Now, look, Elon Musk is one of the richest man in the world. So I'm not sure how much all of this is going to affect him personally, but it certainly is. And that, look, the proof is in the stocks and the market share from his companies. And we do know that Tesla stock and market share has decreased. And according to Scott Galloway, so has the Starlink, at least the premier of Ontario is saying that he is canceling the Starlink contracts. And if other countries, other American allies start to do that because of the actions, because of his political actions and what he's doing in Washington, D.C., because of Doge, that is going to be problematic, I believe, for Elon Musk. Now, will that stop him from doing what he's doing? I don't know. I don't know if it will or not. But I do know that it is problematic for several of his companies. And this is a report that I was talking about. This is just as it relates to Tesla. This is a recent news report. Watch this.
Fence with green tarp around it blocks this dirt lot next to the Northfield Mall. Get a little higher though, and you can see what's inside. Teslas and Teslas and more Teslas. More than 230 of them parked in a single spot.
I like a nice looking car, and I like blue.
Janie Rosenbaum used to have a Tesla.
I love the car.
But Janie put her money where her mouth is.
I don't like Elon Musk.
When her lease ended last year, she had one goal in mind. Another electric vehicle. Just one not attached to the guy who's dismantling the federal government.
And he doesn't care about people. He has no empathy whatsoever. So he can be the richest man in the world, but I'm not going to help contribute to that.
Is Janie's reason an outlier? There's no measurement showing people getting rid of their car because they hate the guy who co-founded the company.
And I for sure wanted to stay with electric, but I was not going to get another Tesla.
While EVs are selling faster in Colorado, Teslas are not.
As more and more cars come to market through the traditional manufacturers, Tesla's market share is declining rapidly.
Matthew Groves is the president of the Colorado Automobile Dealers Association. They use data from Experian Automotive to track these trends.
They were first to market, right?
He says Tesla's dominated the EV market in the state for years because they were first. In Q4, the rate of new Nissan electric registrations in Colorado grew by 580%. Kia, 402. Hyundai, 245. And Tesla, -5.
Brands like Audi and Volkswagen and Jaguar, Mercedes, they took a little to come to market. Now that they are in market, we're finding their rise is almost meteoric as Tesla falls off.
Why is it happening? No certain answer. Just rows and rows of evidence that Coloradans don't love Teslas like they used to.
But I'm not buying another Tesla, ever.
Those are the perils of joining politics when you have a business. Those are the perils of doing things for political reasons when you have a business. Not everybody believes in what you're doing. Elgato Blanco says Tesla stock is in the toilet. Remember, I'm not saying that. The person is saying he's a welfare queen. So look, let's put up the market right now. Now listen, there's time. There's still time for correction, but this is live. The Dow is down still almost 500 points. Down 500 points, and we'll see if it continues to go down. 450 points. It was 500 at one point. Still time for correction. Still time for it to come back up. But we shall see. Now, listen, we started this today, this live stream, talking about what's happening with Wendy Williams. Now, Wendy Williams also called into a friend show, a friend of mine. I actually used to work at Channel 5 in New York, Rosanna Scotto. I worked with Rosanna for years, back in the 90s, and we are friends. Rosanna spoke to Wendy Williams this morning. Let's play some of it, about her hospital visit and what happened.
Wendy on the line. It's Gina Lisa.
Hi, Gina. Hi, Wendy.
Hello. Hold on. Let me connect you.
Okay. Hey,
Wendy, Rosanna.
Hey, Wendy.
Rosanna.
Wendy.
Rosanna.
Yes. Tell me how you're doing.
Well, are we on TV?
Yes, we're on TV.
Oh my gosh. Hi.
Hi.
So I'm on the phone with my friend Gina. Good morning.
Good morning, Gina. So, Wendy, yesterday, the last we saw, you were leaving with police officers going to the hospital.
Right. I'm currently at the hospital.
You're currently at the hospital. What's going on there today?
Well, Gina is more, Gina can elaborate on everything, and I'll just co-sign. Go ahead.
Okay, Gina, Wendy had those tests yesterday, right?
Correct. She had those tests. She's been deemed she is not incapacitated. I passed with flying colors.
I know.
And, I think it's great news, and it's public, and everybody knows, factually that Wendy's not incapacitated.
Wendy, the thing is, the court says they were going to do some testing on you. Did you not really trust their testing, and you wanted somebody independent to do it for you?
Absolutely. I want independently tested, and that is what I want, and that is what I got. Gina can tell you a little bit more. Look, it's not that I'm scared to talk. It's just under these circumstances, there's certain people that I don't care to talk to or talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. You and I have been talking the whole time, and you know that I have your back. And I'm just curious, okay? Would you be open to having a sober companion, a financial consultant, if they moved you out of that guardianship?
Well, as far as a sober companion, I don't need that. I am not drinking ever in my life. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, I have a financial advisor. I've had that for a year. Listen, of course, a financial advisor. Of course, somebody to look after my money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
because
the money that I have right now is all with my guardian person.
Right. And by the way, they're taking fees out every month, right?
Oh, please, listen. I'll talk to you behind the scenes,
okay.
Rosanna.
I know. So, Wendy, are you okay? How do you feel today, and how long are you going to be in the hospital for?
Well, I'm waiting to see my lawyer, Sadatu Salami, and I saw her yesterday. She'll be here today. And I got a few other people that I have to speak with, Gina, continue talking, please.
So, Gina,
we're just trying to talk. Yeah.
So, Gina, can you take this latest testing, bring it before the judge, and say, let Wendy out now?
Absolutely. These are independent results. This is from a hospital, a very well-known hospital. It's independent. It's factual. I would be very disappointed, and I would be very concerned if the judge has an issue with those tests.
You know what I don't understand, Wendy, is they're locking you up like you committed a crime.
Yes. I have to tell you something, and I'm on the 5th floor. It's called the memory unit, and this is a floor, where, you don't remember anything. Like, really? And as far as me being able to go outside, I'm not allowed. I have to stay in this building.
Right.
In order to go to the gym, which is on the 3rd floor, I have to be permitted. You know what I'm saying? And then I have somebody, who works in the building, walk me downstairs. Well, I'm in the scooter, but downstairs, and the man who's working me out, he comes outside to spot me as I work out. And in terms of how much it costs, it has to be approved by, my guardian person. Like, my money is like in the air. Like, God, this is my life.
I know it's your life. And I know you want to take control of it. And, I can't even call you back. You don't know your phone number. They've given you some kind of, weird kind of phone that you could...
No.
What?
I have a landline phone. My guardian person has been having my phone for years now. I mean, it's unbelievable. I can't search my phone. I can't. My phone is my phone. My phone is. Oh my gosh! I have a landline phone, like I said.
Okay.
It's horrible.
Okay. So listen. Basically, she's saying the exact same thing. Pretty much similar things as what she said to me on the phone. When I spoke to her not long ago. So there you go. Do you guys tell me how you feel? Now, there's someone saying Wendy Williams is going to be on The View on Friday. Look, I have sources of you guys know over at The View. Reportedly, she's going to do it, but who knows at this point now? Who knows? Because Wendy can only call out. They can't call her. So I believe the plan is to tape it on Thursday and run it on Friday. So we'll see if that's going to happen. I hope it does happen because I think it would be a good interview, but who knows? And by the way, well, we'll report this. I'll wait till we report it later. I just wanted to leave you with that. Look, guys, this has been a long live because there's been so much breaking news. You don't get this anywhere else. You will not get this anywhere else. You may get like a taped interview with Wendy and it's all boxed and canned. That is not what happened here today. This is why people love our 10 a.m. live Hot Topics and our live at 5, because you never know what's going to happen. And it is completely, organic, and it is what is happening in the moment. It is real. It isn't canned. It isn't filtered through a corporation or filtered through producers or anything. It is what is happening in the moment. I've been texting with Rosanna Scott. As soon as I get Rosanna's trying to come on. And as soon as we get her, we'll bring her on. She said, I want to come on. Let me just check with the powers that be. So just be transparent about that, but we'll see. So now you're up to date on the economy, how Donald Trump is trashing, thrashing, throttling the economy, killing the American economy in real time. And people are still falling for the BS. So guys, make sure you hit the thumbs up, make sure you hit the like. The membership link is in the top of the chat, and subscribe. It's right at the bottom below the Don Lemon show logo. Subscriptions are free. Okay. And make sure if you're following us or if you're live for us on TikTok, make sure you smash the screen, as they say, hit the hearts at whatever platform. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and our big show, though, is right here live on YouTube. Okay. So look, I'm going to see you at 5 p.m. Eastern, and I hope that I've gotten everything. Producers, have I gotten everything? I don't know if we need to cover what's happening with Congress right now. I think we can probably do that later.
Yes, we can save that.
Yeah. But check out the stock market. I'm just saying, you need to know. Everyone does. So I'll see you back 5 p.m. Eastern live here. We're going to drop something at 2 o'clock as well, and then 5 p.m. So as I say, with all of these, every time I sign off, turn this TV off. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support.